The African continent has many heroes that deserve respect and recognition. Unfortunately, some of these heroes slip through the cracks of public awareness, and so I wanted to speak about a little-known hero whose story has only recently come to light. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and contributing to this content. On Patreon, you can find more in-depth courses on African history. Also, your support helps this channel grow, improving production quality and future animated projects. And with a word from my sponsors, there's a new social media platform dedicated to educating and uplifting our people. No longer do we have to be censored for speaking our truth. OBT Social is Black owned and operated, and a place where you can post your businesses and even monetize your content. You can visit the website at obtsocial.com. Links to everything in the description box below. As with all my videos, I try my best to pronounce traditional African names and titles. Sadly, I often fail at it. So, if you're from this particular ethnic group or in close relation, I ask that you bear with me and assist me with pronunciation in the comment section below as best you can. Let's begin. Mekatilili Wamenza was a very courageous leader of the Giriama people who protested against British colonial rule in the 20th century. She lived amongst the northernmost Giriama people in coastal Kenya. Mekatilili, also known as Manyazi Wamenza, first appears in written historical records in June 1913 when she spoke at a public meeting in northern Giriama territory at Garashi, a village just south of the Sabaki River in the hinterland of the coastal town of Malindi. This old woman from the nearby location of Galana spoke eloquently against the British colonial policies of forced labor recruitment and taxation. Manyazi's initial concern with British rule was that European influence was eroding Giriama culture. It quickly evolved into a fight against British recruitment of her people, into a war against the Germans and their attempts to collect a poll tax. Manyazi spoke frequently about the theft of Giriama land and the humiliation by the British. She acted on her passion by establishing a local government, appointing a man named Wanji Mondoro to run it. Her fight was not just a political or physical one. She invoked spiritual components that gave more weight to her case. The center of spiritual authority for the Giriama people was located at the Kayas, a place that we may consider a sacred grove, if you will, a location in which the people can connect and communicate with higher authorities. Manyazi did not have much political power in the traditional sense, but she had the respect of the people and could mobilize them in ways that had not been seen for quite some time. For several weeks, Mekatilili traveled around the Trans-Sabaki area speaking to large groups of Giriama women and men. With Wanji's public support, she began urging all Giriama to travel south to the Kaya Giriama, northwest of Mombasa, where they could consult the Kaya elders, propitiate the ancestors with sacrifices, discuss grievances, and swear powerful oaths to restore Giriama political unity. The mobilization of the Giriama people, led by Manyazi, was absolutely powerful. The result was a complete stoppage of the British colonial administration's labor recruitment and tax collection in the region. Instead of acknowledging Manyazi's strategy and political acumen, the British branded her a witch. Manyazi and Wanji were eventually arrested and exiled much farther inland. The British punished the Giriama people with heavy fines, and they demanded the removal of the Giriama people to a different location to make room for European investors. Interestingly enough, the Giriama refused to evacuate, but the fines were eventually collected. In response, the British destroyed and razed to the ground the Kaya, or sacred area. The aggressive actions from the British eventually led to open war. The British used troops to impose the removal of the Giriama people from the Sabaki River Valley. This led to around 150 people being killed and the extraction of wealth from the Giriama people. The British wanted to completely destroy the rebellion and enacted many more harsh punishments, including the enrollment of 1,000 young men to the Carrier Corps. Ironically, the strong hand of the British was not sustainable. By 1918, the British colonial administration remained weak. When European investment failed to materialize, the British began to allow the Giriama to resettle parts of the Trans-Sabaki area. In 1919, Mekatilili and Wanji were pardoned and allowed to return. During their exile, they had become husband and wife. After consultation with headmen and elders, the British decided to reintroduce elements of traditional Giriama political culture to improve the effectiveness of local administration. Unsurprisingly, British attempts to reinstate the Kaya and have Manyazi as head of the Women's Council failed because it was inauthentic. It simply did not get the full support of the Giriama people. Despite this, what was beginning to look like an end to Manyazi's rebellion may have turned into something worthwhile. The complete removal of British authority did not take place. However, in part, the inclusion of Giriama political culture with the British power structure turned Manyazi's righteous rebellion into something legendary. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.